Hey guys, what's up? This is Mel, and I'm here to talk about the originals, episode 312, titled Dead Angels, which premiered Friday, February 12th, 2016 on the CW. I do apologize, guys, in advance that this has been delayed. Work got ahead of me, and it kind of came crashing down on Friday, so I am here to talk about it, and let's do it. So, 10-minute clock as always, and let's begin. So, what is something new that we learned about in this episode? So, basically, this episode focused around what I call Search for the Wooden Horse. And basically, you have Klaus trying to deal with Camille, who stole Hope's little wooden figurine horse, and she has recruited Vincent to keep her magically hidden. You also have Aya, who is forcing Davina and the Strix witch coven called the Sisters to find out what Irene had figured out from Elijah before he killed her. So they're trying to find out, and they do find out that it is the wooden horse, and they go after Camille. And then eventually we find out that the witch who found out from Davina, Madison, after she got the wooden horse from Camille, she turns it over to Aurora, who she was actually working for, in hopes that she would be free from the Strix coven. Apparently it's not so grand of a coven to be a part of. And with the weapon in her hand, Aurora creates a new weapon in the sense that she creates the white oak wooden bullets, which basically reminds me of the weapon, the Colt from the show Supernatural, which is basically these specific bullets that kill any supernatural creature on Supernatural, and it kind of is and what Aurora creates is kind of the same thing, except these wooden bullets could kill an original, and she plans to kill the family of monsters. I don't think she's excluding Rebecca in that statement, though, so that's an eerie thought. Side plot line for this episode was the fact that Elijah was trying to distract the Strix in hopes that they would take their mind off of finding the wooden horse while Klaus was trying to retrieve it, and Elijah distracts them by challenging leadership, since he was the creator of the Strix. He brings out this charter, these old ways of how leadership is meant to be found and stuff like that, which leads to another vampire fight club moment between Elijah and Aya. So we see that. We also see Marcel intervening in a sense that was very clever for him, and it ends up making him the leader of the Strix, which was kind of amusing in a sense. But we do find out through this fight club the history between Elijah and Aya through flashback moments. They're not actual scenes, but they're like Elijah's voiceover explanations with the images being flashbacks of him. Apparently, Elijah and Aya had a relationship. He turned her in hopes of them creating this knowledgeable group, the Strix, so that they can better the world. But when Michael came, Elijah fled to make sure his family was safe, leaving the Strix to take the brutal force of Michael and his men. So that caused the rift between them, and then Tristan swooped in and whatsoever. But that whole history is there. Definitely tension between them. And then we also learn at the end, when Aya is trying to see whether Marcel is a fit leader or not, we learn that Aya had a fail-safe plan with the Strix, and that was to find a way to unlink the sire lines from the originators. So there's that. So what is the most shocking moment of the episode? Two moments, actually, for me. Elijah and Marcel. Throughout the whole episode, you see Elijah belittling Marcel, calling him a kid, referring to him as a child, him actually thrusting his hand into Marcel's chest when he didn't like the fact Marcel was now the leadership of what he had created, and only to find out that these two were actually working together from the very beginning. I was not expecting it. I feel so stupid that I didn't see that happening, and it just made me love their plan even more. Another shocking moment of the episode was that the witch working for Aurora Madison, that part, the fact that she was working for Aurora, was shocking only because when Davina revealed to Camille that she discovered that Madison was working for someone other than the Strix, I thought that maybe a new player was in town, a new player was stepping up. But to find out that it was Aurora, that kind of takes away the shock factor, because Aurora seems to be behind everyone who isn't the obvious choice. Like, if we're thinking it's one opponent and yet it turns out they had nothing to do with it, then chances are it's Aurora who is behind it. So it was kind of shocking, but yet it was kind of predictable in a sense. So there's that. So top 3 favorite moments of the episode. First one has to be Elijah and Marcel working together to trick the Strix. I was definitely surprised by it. I definitely love the execution behind it now that I'm thinking back on what was happening. And Marcel actually made a great speech about why he'd be a suitable leader for the Strix and why it should be him. And that whole scene, they had me fooled. They really had me believing that they were at odds with each other. And then at the very end, I was like, oh my god, face palm. Why didn't I see the connection between it sooner? So I really like that for sure. Another favorite moment of mine has to be between Klaus and Haley. And it's when they're talking about Hope being upset about the situation, also not adjusting to Jackson not being around anymore, and also talking about the situation with Cammy basically going insane for the time being by taking the only weapon that could kill them all. And yeah, even though Davina was listening in on it, aside from that, I really like the moment between Klaus and Healy for sure. It was civil enough for them, and I really like that. Couldn't really find another favorite moment, sadly enough. Episode wasn't one of my favorites. I mean, it had its moments, but I will say this. I did like the fact that Aurora killed Madison, that witch who invaded Davina's mind. I mean, like, it was, like, so obvious. I was so furious that Madison gave the horse weapon to Aurora, and then she asked for a reward, and her reward was wanting to be free from the Strix, and then Aurora kills her. I'm like, how could you not see that coming? It's like, the only way to get freedom from anything at all is to die in this supernatural world. That's pretty much it, unless you eliminate every possible person who was keeping you from being free. So unless Madison truly wanted to be free, that meant she had to kill every member of the Strix, or she kills herself to be free from them. The fact that Aurora did, I was like, please, because of all the trouble that Madison caused. So I was like, yes, get rid of her, thank you. So there's that. Plus the fact that you found out all about her as quickly as you did from through Davina, it's just like, we're learning about her way too quickly. She's gonna die soon type thing. So now that I thought about that. So top 3 peeved moments. Yeah, I definitely have them. Sadly enough. I don't want to. Anyways. First one has to be Camille's arrogance towards the whole situation. She claims she had the upper hand. She doesn't want to be taken advantage of anymore. She stole the only weapon that could kill an original just to get some stupid dark artifacts back. And yet she ends up losing it. She thinks that she's protected within a magical barrier. Yes, from vampires, but Klaus isn't the only one that wanted the weapon. Everybody wants that weapon. She went in over her head, and it's just, I'm not liking Vampire Camille at all. It's like, did she forget her brain or something? Like, when she figured out the riddle behind it, yes, that showed she still was smart. But yet, here's the thing. If she was still aligned with the Michelsons, and she just took the weapon just to get Klaus's attention so that he can give her back the artifacts that she needs to take down Aurora, then why didn't she burn the weapon to begin with? I mean, here's the thing. If I was Camille, I would have handled it better, for sure. But if I was Camille and I had to steal the weapon in order to get Klaus's attention, yet if I'm still loyal to Klaus, then I would have just burned that little white oak weapon and just stayed that, and then just there, eliminated the threat. It's like, okay, now you just tell Klaus that, okay, I'll give you the weapon if you give me back my artifacts. And then when the time came and he handed over the weapons to you, or the artifacts to you, just tell him, I burned the white oak stick for you, or I burned the white oak weapon for you. And then just right then and there, that would have proven that she still had his safety in mind and that she wasn't just dangling it for anybody to take. So first wrong move was the fact that she did not burn that little wooden figurine. Because the moment that Camille took that weapon, it was guaranteed that someone else was going to steal it from her. And rightfully so, it happened. And I'm actually glad it did, because it put Camille in her place. It was something that big. You don't just hold it on you and expect nothing bad to happen. If anything, if she was gonna still have it and not burn it, which she should have done, then she should have hidden it somewhere so only she knew where the location was. So yeah, it could have been handled so much better, but just I don't like Vampire Cammy at all. I miss her human self. I want her back. So next Pete moment, right when the bell rings. So the fact that Freya wasn't at all seen, yet she was mentioned repeatedly throughout the episode, doing spells off screen for her family. But I just didn't like that we don't see Freya. We should be seeing her when when it's her brothers, her family that's being threatened. I just don't like when she's not in an episode and yet she's mentioned constantly as if she is there. It's annoying. Next page moment is the fact that Aurora is always the one pulling the strings from the sidelines, like with this wooden horse, with Cammy's death, with Alexis's death back in 304. And we're always trying to figure out who else could be the one behind something that happens or whatever twist that happens. It turns out 99% of the time it's Aurora, and I'm getting sick of it. I kind of want just like this new player to come in to try to complicate it a bit. Otherwise, I'm just going to say, oh, who could have done this? If it's not them, it's probably Aurora. So yeah, there's that. Bonus peeve, no Lucian. We still haven't seen him since he tried to comfort Aurora after Klaus broke her heart in 308. So where is he? Did he skip town or something, or what? It's just it makes no sense that he hasn't been seen in a while. So what I remember most about this episode, the fact that Aurora has the weapon. I don't like it, but it is what it is, and she has turned it now into a bunch of wooden white oak bullets, which reminds me of the cult, and it will always remind me of the cult from Supernatural. With that said, let's go on to random questions. First one, when will this beast from the prophecy be introduced? It's either going to be a brand new character or some character that we already know is going to be turned into the prophesized beast. So I'm wondering when we're going to see clues of that popping up. Next question, when will Klaus learn about Rebecca's daggered state? There's no indication. It seems that only Elijah knows, but I'm wondering when Klaus will find out and how he will react to that. Next question. Is Ai's claim for there being a way to unlink the Sire Lions true? I believe it would have to be something more complex and very intricate and rare, like Klaus's curse was. It took Klaus 500 years for the possibility to break his hybrid curse, and then it took him another 500 to actually complete it. So I would expect something like breaking the Sire line connection to be as complex or even more so complex. I hope so, because it can't just be some run-of-the-mill spell. And truth be told, actually, I actually had that plan on one of my fan fiction stories, the crossover story for called More Than a Petrova, and it's crossover between Supernatural and the Vampire Diaries. I was actually going to reveal in its sequel that I'm slowly getting back into it. I was actually going to reveal the fact that the Sire lines were disconnected, because I had Klaus, spoiler for that, but I had Klaus killed in my first story, and yet Damon and the others were still alive in the second story, so I had to find a way, and that was my way. So the fact that it could be an actual possible canon point in the show, it surprised me, and I'm looking forward to see how complex it is going to be, because I definitely made it complex in my head canon that I had. But yeah, there's that. Next question. With Marcel the leader of the Strix, what is he going to do with that without tipping off the fact that he's aligned with Elijah? Yeah, he's definitely going to have to walk on eggshells and not reveal too much without giving himself away, because he's basically ruling over a group of Elijah loyalists, because Elijah is their sire, so he's got to be careful. So moving on to predictions, based off the promo for 313, we see Aurora luring Klaus and Elijah to the woods, and she has the white oak bullets loaded and ready to use on them. We also see Freya buried alive, and she's the bait for her brothers to get to the wood. Apparently, there are some fake coffins also buried with, like, guess again type thing. So we're definitely gonna see that that going on. Based off of the synopsis, though, for the episode, Cole is going to be returning, and he's going to help Davina find a key ingredient to one of her spells. It's possibly the unlinking spell. I hope not, because I don't think Cole would reveal what ingredients are needed to unlink all vampires to their sires, because essentially that sire line link is the only thing stopping every other vampire from teaming up and killing the originals, because their lives are attached to it. So I don't think Cole would be involved in the unlinking spell, but chances are that's the spell they're going to go for, but I hope not. Prediction in general, I feel like if they do the unlinking spell, then it's possible that one of the originals will die moments after the spell is completed. Kind of like back in the Vampire Diaries episode 318, when all the originals were linked together, and if something happened to one, it happened to all of them. So Klaus had Bonnie unlink them all so that they were all separate. Yet moments after she completed that spell, Matt had killed Finn. And yet Finn only died because the spell was linked. The spell was just completed, and it destroyed the link. So if we're going to see a repeat of that happening, then it's very possible that an original will die if they do complete the unlinking spell. And if that's the case, then the flash forwards we're seeing of the Vampire Diaries give no reassurance of the fact that Klaus is alive in 3 years, because Damon and Stefan and all of them are alive. Because if this unlinking spell happens, there's a very good chance that Klaus is the one that dies, and yet Damon and the others would still be alive, if you know what I mean. But if anything, if any of the originals were to die, in this sense, I think it'd be Rebecca, only because she's still not a main cast character on the show. So there's that. I hope that's not the case. I really hope I'm wrong, but it's looking like it may go in that direction. If they do go with the unlinking spell, since they did pull it off in 318 of the Vampire Diaries. So there's that. Next prediction, there's definitely going to be some strain between Klaus and Camille. It definitely seems like she lost his trust. He definitely wasn't pleased with how she handled things, and now she basically jeopardized their existence over some petty artifacts that she wanted back. So, yeah, I don't see things going well for them anytime soon, which is kind of tough. And the last prediction, the beast in the prophecy has to be introduced at some point. To keep dangling it, and that there's this beast that's going to be involved, and I just want answers for that, or some kind of clue, for sure. And that's about it. So what did you guys think of the episode? What did you like about it? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos. And if you also want more of a recap of the episode, a play-by-play if you will, check out my live journal account. The link for that will be down below. Also, if you want more news about the originals, whether it's promos, synopses, web clips, quotes, dialogues, gifs, any of that, check out my Tumblr page. Link for that will be down below. It's as organized as I can get it, but I pretty much reblog anything I come across, so you can always find it there. And that's about it. Thank you guys for watching. I truly appreciate it. I hope you come back next week to see what I have to say about the next episode, and I hope we keep this conversation going. So until next time, this is Mel, wishing you all a great day, great week, wherever you are. So until next time, bye for now.